We're going to go to California, and we're going to talk to Kay in California. Kay, how you doing?
Hey, Kay.
Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Jen. Thanks
Hey.
for letting me talk to you guys.
It's good to hear from you. What did you want to chat about?
Sorry. I'm a little nervous, sorry. I have a family that's basically half fundamentalist Christian and then half atheist, and it's been quite interesting growing up. We have 4 pastors in the family, one person who's been to Bible college and one person who's currently in Bible college. So I went through quite a lot growing up that a lot of the Christian side of my family didn't know about, but it was actually done by the side of my family that's atheist. And I always clung on to people who were Christian because I kind of saw them as like the safer people. And really growing up, I kind of saw atheist people as like they're bad, like literally bad. And because I'd been so kind of indoctrinated, I guess, or not brainwashed, I guess, you know, like no one ever set me straight or anything. I was very quiet. I never said anything about what I truly believed, even though they would try and have like debates with me, like the atheist side of my family. But anyway, my point is I moved away because I found both sides of my family quite toxic, and I've been in therapy for a while, and I have complex PTSD from the trauma that happened, and since then I no longer really identify as Christian. I identify as atheist, but it's difficult because the people that I'm in contact with still are pretty Christian, and I get like texts like honor your father and your mother, or you're not going to live long, or you know, like just it's such a mess. Like I'm constantly getting a barrage of like messages just kind of telling me that, you know, I need to be back on track, and also that, you know, maybe it's because of my mental illness that I don't believe anymore, and I have like resentment towards God, and it's just a mess, and I don't really know like what to believe anymore. Like I know the brain is powerful, and yeah, maybe I don't like religion, but I don't know. I don't think that that's the PTSD side of me. I think I've just grown past all of that, and you know, I was afraid to be atheist because I thought I'd be like the bad side of my family, but now I know atheists, you know, they're not all like that. They're actually really good people, and I think that's why I was afraid to identify that way.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, good on you for being a positive atheist, because it's really easy to be the not positive atheist, and I'm afraid that the atheist public spaces are all too polluted
Toxic.
with
They're just toxic
with crappy people. But Jen, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah. First off, I want to say that is awesome, and congratulations to you to understanding that there was trauma, and you said I'm not going to deal with this on my own, and getting help for yourself for it. That's a huge step, and it needs to be congratulated. As far as your family, how much is it bugging you that they're sending you these texts? Is it like a minor kind of whatever, or is it just like, yeah, I can't take this anymore?
It ranges. Honestly, sometimes I'm like, this is just how they are. They're not going to change. It's okay, whatever. And then other times I'm like, holy freaking crap, can you leave me alone, please? Like, I'm so tired of it.
It's okay to say. It's okay to say, you know, thank you, and I understand your concern, but I may have to mute you here for a bit if you don't know the boundary.
Right.
And that's fine.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think also because they were older, like my grandmother especially, like there's just no reasoning with her, even if I like tell her what happened with my family and like how Christianity honestly made it worse. Like she'll just kind of dismiss it and make up excuses, or, you know, say that wasn't God, that was the devil, that was sin. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
I come from an old school
I don't know.
family. I totally get it. Yeah. I totally get it all the time. So are you conflicted with your atheism or your Christianity?
I'm conflicted with just being so in my head that I do wonder, like, am I so opposed to religion, like, because
of trauma,
I just grew up and trauma, like, because I clung onto it so much. When I started getting better, I felt like I don't need to cling on to this anymore. Like, I don't like it. I don't like how fundamentalist they are, and also hypocritical, to be honest. Like, my mom made my little sister's she made my sister's godfather a gay man, that she's against gay people. And I'm like, Mom, that makes no freaking sense. Please make it make sense. And I'm just like I just...
Well, here's a good way to approach it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Here's a good way to approach it. You're working through the trauma now in therapy. And the more that you work through the trauma, do you find yourself saying, you know what, I think it was, does the God belief not play into it for you? Or is it, like, this is happening because of the God belief, that the trauma was because of the God belief?
The getting better was because I realized I wasn't boxed into Christianity. I didn't have to be in contact with the part of my family that, like, hurt me. And then right now, I guess my conflict is I don't want to be part of religion. Like, logically, I know that I'm an atheist through and through, but emotionally it's difficult because I have this fear of, like, almost letting it go. Like, it's not a comforting thing for me to hang on to it. It's a fear thing. Like, what's going to happen if I let go of it? Because
it's absolutely
I've
a comforting
been
thing.
told all these horrible things.
Yeah, it's been there forever, and it's been your blanket forever. And this is absolutely something I had a big part of letting go of the bigger person that's going to be there to comfort me and the family and everything else. And that's absolutely something that you're going to have to work through with your therapist and say, you know, I need other coping mechanisms before going back to this. And I'm fully supporting you working through that. But you look at it in this way. You are finding yourself outside of the religion. You're finding yourself outside of your family. You've moved away. That's great. Find things about yourself to kind of cling to by saying, okay, I know I substituted this comfort with my family and religion. However, this is a thing that I do for myself that comforts me and comforts my reason. And when you're questioning the God reason or you're questioning the non-God reason, what you can say is, okay, do I have comfort in the fact of a story that I don't know if I can prove? Or do I have comfort in the fact of something that can be proven? And kind of wrestle that out with your own brain. Jimmy, you have...
Yeah, so my advice to you as far as working with your family and conversations with your family go are a few things. One, you need to determine which ones you feel like have to stay in your life and re-examine why you think they have to stay in your life. If a person is too toxic and you're a person being treated for complex PTSD, as a person who has had to go through therapy for some things, and one of them was drug addiction, you do not go back to the same habits and the same people that you used to do drugs around. And so the same thing with PTSD. The people who cause your PTSD are the people you don't necessarily want to stay around. But if you feel like it's not an option to cut them out and it's not an option to stop having those conversations, I would also say check out the series Street Epistemology by Anthony Magnabosco. It's not a miracle series or anything like that, but it'll teach you how to have better conversations using things like the Socratic method. And you can turn these conversations where they're coming at you, where they're telling you things, to you asking questions that lead them to conclusions that might be a little bit more sympathetic to who you are and where you're coming from. If that is also failing to work, I would recommend you have a mediated conversation with somebody as the mediator who knows both parties, who is on your side regarding you wanting to be having a peaceful coexistence with these people. They don't necessarily have to be on your side as an atheist. And you can try it first without and say, listen, if you want to have a relationship with me, I decide whether or not that happens. You are not entitled to a relationship with me, so you will treat me with respect, and I will treat you with respect. These kind of things, boundaries have to be laid down. These kind of things have to stop. If it works without a mediator, great. If it doesn't, I recommend a mediator. It could even be your therapist. I recommend to have that conversation, because people hold themselves accountable different when there is a third party that there is a different respect dynamic with. Because one of the things that I say to people, and every time I say it, somebody in the comments wants to argue with me about it, but parents and grandparents do not have a natural respect for their children or their grandchildren. Sometimes it grows as they grow older. Some parents are the exception, but for the most part, because you are the person who imparted your wisdom into them. You trained them that the stove was hot and there was so many things that they just had to accept as true because you're you and they're your child. Unfortunately, that expands into more complex things. So when it comes to those types of relationships, even sometimes with just older siblings to younger siblings, they are comfortable enough dismissing your concerns and your reasoning just because they are them and you are you, and whatever that relationship is, they have to you. So when you bring in a third party that breaks up that dynamic, they're held accountable in a different way, even if that person is never going to be seen again. Now, sometimes it just gets better for a little while and then it goes back to the old way. But I have cut out, I was grown, one of the like personal family indoctrinations I grew up with was this concept that the number one rule in our family is loyalty. And that was literally something we had to recite. And loyalty didn't actually mean helping each other out of a jam. It meant defending each other in a fight, even if your sibling's the one in the wrong. It meant never call the police, even if you should call the police on your family member. It meant never talking trash, but talking trash could even just be like making a joke that embarrassed your sibling, which, by the way, was never equally applied in my family, but in front of people from outside the family, never saying anything critical. I remember I got in trouble once.
They're always right. You always have to be a united front.
I got in trouble once because my oldest brother, when my family would leave, my oldest brother would be in charge and he would use corporal punishment, but was just kind of excited to do it. It was not for anything real. He would come up with reasons to do it. And so I ended up telling that to a teacher at my church who asked my parents about it. I'm the one who got in trouble from that situation, not my brother.
Yeah.
So
the no snitch shit.
And that's one of the people I've cut out of my life, by the way, is that brother. And so there's a lot of that sort of thing where you grow up feeling like you have to. And well into my adulthood, anytime I would say anything critical, I would start to get this anxiety and guilt because of that programming. Luckily now I have no problem saying all of my brothers, every single one of them sucks. I said it that emphatically because one of them is running the show right now.
Yeah.
But no, many of my family members suck and I have cut them out. And so it's a hard thing to get past and it's a hard thing to work on, but it's a conversation worth having with yourself, worth having with your therapist, and kind of having without having to be aggressive or hostile, which can be hard because a lot of times that's what's being modeled to you from these other people. You can still set stern boundaries, and if they don't respect them, enforce what the outcome was going to be what you said it would be if they don't respect them.
I also like the idea of the neutral zone. Like if you ever have to be around your family, you could say, okay, we're going to grandma's and grandma's is the neutral zone. We're not going to bring up religion. Don't bring up politics with me. This is my neutral zone. We're here to see each other and we don't want to upset grandma. So, and then if that's disrespected, I'm one to kind of light everything on fire for anyone who does know me. If that's disrespected, get up, leave. When somebody's asking, hey, why are you leaving? Say, because I'm being disrespected. And I've asked this person to hold this boundary, which I think is reasonable, to have a nice family get together, and they don't want to. So put it back on them. Be like, I'm not the one starting problems, so I'm just going to leave to make sure there aren't any. Put it right back on them. They want to act like that, act like that. Hold it.
I also want to say, I was just going to real quick say, following this whole, I'm looking at the live chat. I'm enjoying watching people talk crap about my older brother, so keep it coming. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
My oldest brother specifically, not David. The oldest one.
Okay. I actually left my home country when I finished high school. I was 19 and I was like, I'm getting out of here. And I moved to the States. So I actually haven't seen my family in a really long time because I was just like, I'm not doing this. Yeah. But I didn't intend to cut out my whole family, but because sorry, my dad is whining. But because I stopped talking to my dad, a lot of them stopped talking to me because of the respect your parents thing. And now I'm talking to them again, and I'm trying to explain why I didn't talk to them, and we're sort of at a place where we're going to agree to disagree. But I'm getting these texts about Christianity, I think, because I have a progressive illness, and I think they're worried that I'm gonna die, not a Christian, and like that is just like annoying. But I
think about that
appreciate
impulse,
all
though.
of your advice, and thank you.
Real quick before you go, Kay, because we will move on here in a sec, but think about that impulse they have when you are in this most vulnerable state to use that against you and try and guilt you back into the fold. Like, if there is a God that is so loving and incredible, is that really the method which he would use, the same as a domestic abuser? Like, that's just
I went through this with my family, though, with
outrageous.
my dad. I did it with my dad, with my family. I cut him off. It was during my divorce. And they were, you know, oh my God, you're against God because you're mad at your father, which I found fucking hilarious. Excuse my language. Excuse me. And I was like, no, and I had to set the boundary. I was like, look, I understand you guys are concerned. However, if you're going to be concerned about me, then have a real concern for it. Ask how my bills are being paid. Ask how my kid's doing. Don't sit here and ask about my relationship with God. And it was a boundary. And there were times where I had to put him on a timeout. And that's fine to do. That's absolutely fine to do it for yourself.
Okay, I think we gave you a lot of information, so I do suggest you rewatch the call. We'll release the call again as a clip, but also obviously you can watch it back on this stream.
Big hug for Kay, too.
I don't want to. I have more thoughts, but I feel like we've already said so much, so we need to give you enough that you can take away and contemplate and such. But do follow up, send emails, or call again in a future episode. Let us know how you're doing.
Big hugs for Kay, too. That's so rough to hear, too. Big hugs.
Thank you, Kay.
You guys are sweet. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.